back to my YouTube channel. My name is Victoria Ajayi Bembe. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining me. I'm sure most of you already figured out that this is not my normal upload days. I usually upload new videos on Saturdays, and I'm still going to upload a video on Saturday, so please make sure you come back. But this video became really necessary, and I felt like, everyone should be talking about this. This is not something that we should all just keep quiet, about and not lend our voice. As long as you have a platform, you need to stand up for what is right, especially if it's something you believe in. Now, what I'm here to talk about is what has been happening in Nigeria, which happens to be the country I am from, and in the United States, which happens to be the country I live in. And God, if you have been following the news, you probably have even heard, and you've heard a lot of stories, you've heard a lot of people talking about this, and maybe I'm just one of those voices, maybe I'm just one of those people that don't want to keep quiet about the injustice that is happening in these two countries. And I'm sure every country have their own issues, but God, I've lived in these countries and I've experienced, some of this, these issues that are going on in these two countries. It hits me close, and that's why when everything started on social media and the campaign was going on and people were talking about it, just reading those stories, just listening to what people are saying, just watching those videos really spiked a lot of feelings in me that I did not necessarily want to talk about when everyone was talking about it, because like I said, it really hit me, like, because it's really, I don't know, it cuts close to home, for me. And I get really passionate and really emotional, especially when we're talking about, abuse and violence and racism and injustice in general. And I just felt like, if I had started talking about this issue when, everything was up, I probably would have just come here and, said some things that I probably wouldn't be able, or wouldn't have been able to take back. And that's why I just want to address this. Like, I just want to use my platform and just to lend a voice, or to help someone who is probably have found themselves in this situation, or someone who you are probably facing, or you're probably part of the people who are facing the repercussions of this situation, like for those whose shops have been vandalized, for those whose homes are being invaded by police officers, or and so on. So I just want to talk about these issues and give my own 2 cents to what every other person has said about this this issue. Now I'm going to start from the United States, because I live here. I have experienced a lot of people sharing their emotions. Even in workplace, even in schools, people are trying to make sure that people are informed about what is happening. And I'm sure most of us already know that this racism is not something that just began now. It has been something that we've read about. When I was in Nigeria, I used to read a lot in the news about the black communities being attacked, or constantly harassed by the police. And when I was home and I was reading all of these things, it seemed so far, and yeah, I think I did a video or two about this a long time ago in my Facebook page. But it's different when you are there and when you have actually experienced it. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I shared on the day this George Floyd's incident happened, I shared about my own racism experience. And to be honest, in the scale of things, mine is probably very, very infinitesimal, very small. It's a very small part of it. Like, it doesn't even count for some people, because that's like their reality every day. I shared about the time I was going to the grocery store, and I was waiting for the traffic lights, and I think the traffic light turned red. That means the car should stop and we are allowed to cross. And just as I was about to cross, this guy just came out of nowhere, and he literally, because the road is quite wide, I was already in the middle of the road. So he actually saw me trying to cross the road, and all of a sudden he just increased his speed, and it just came full force at me. And at this point I thought, oh my God, this is it, I'm going to die. When it got right in front of me, really close to me, it pressed his brake. And by the time I would try to figure out what is happening, he yelled the N-word at me. And I was like, wow. I've experienced racism, but passive, not in a direct way. That was my very first time. And this is, like I said, it's really small compared to in the scale of things, a man is killed, people are shot every day and stuff like that. And we've also had, some white people who are coming out to, fight to speak against this thing. So yes, not all white people are racist, not all, not everyone it treats black people in such a way. But I just feel like it has gone too deep in the system that it's not even about the person anymore. The system itself, the way, I mean, the kind of jobs a black person would get in this community. Check those jobs, construction jobs. Check. I mean, I'm not talking about engineering. I'm talking about construction. Those that carry the pans and do the blocks and all of those things. And check, handyman and all of those things. They are mostly the black communities. Hardly, like, maybe 10% of them are white people, like, but most of them are like the blacks. Like, I don't know, someone says something that racism never ended. It's just been recorded. Like, it has always been there. It's only ended on paper, it's ended in the constitution or whatever it is, but it still continues and people are still being segregated on. And I don't know why it would do that, because see guys, we are all humans. And I know you've heard this 1,000 times. Maybe you just need a reminder that, see, listen, everybody, whether they are gay, they are lesbian, they are black, they are white, they are blue, they are purple, whoever it is, as far as they have this body that they're living in, as far as they have air in their lungs, they are humans. They are humans. And especially if you're a Christian. And what even amazes me is how Christians are able to justify this even using the Bible. But then again, I am not surprised, because I mean, they are the whites, the British, they are the one who brought religion, and they are still the same people who started slavery. So it's not really surprising. But I mean, I just felt like in 2020, with the amount of exposure we have, in terms of knowledge, in terms of like resources, we get to, I just feel like we have moved forward, or we have moved ahead, or we have advanced in so many ways, in technology, in resources, in knowledge, and in a lot of things. But when it comes to our ideologies, most of us are still living in the ancient days. Most of us are still living in the old times. We have not evolved. We still carry this mentality in our head. And I don't even know if it's a matter of mentality anymore. I just feel like, why would you feel like you are better of a person because of the color of your skin? Why do you feel like you have the right to take another man's life because you are white, or because you have a different color of skin? Like, to be honest, I'm trying not to get too much emotions, because I feel like we have so many people with so much emotions going around, and we don't, in as much as we want to like talk about it, we want to lend our voice and make sure we are heard, we also don't want to, I mean, people are already infuriated. We don't want to, add more fuel to the fire. And that's why I'm calling on everyone that is watching this video, whether you're white, whether you're purple. I'm even calling on Africans, because yes, maybe there's no racism in African because we are all blacks, but there's also tribalism. Where I come from, the Igbos, the Yorubas, the this, the that, like, there's no unity. And I think it's because we focus too much on our differences than we do on our similarities. Because at the end of the day, what the degree at which we are different is not as much as the degree at which we are, we are the same. We are humans. We have the same blood flowing through our veins. We have emotions. We have feelings. We all live. We all eat. We all die. We like. And those are like that's like the most important thing. Whether you come from the east, you come from the west, you speak this language, you speak that language, or this is your culture, this is my culture. I always say, like, there's beauty in diversity. And I believe that the reason why we are all created differently is because we all can exhibit, something different, and so that we can celebrate it. But imagine if we all in the world are created the same way. The world will be boring, because everyone speaks the same language, everyone does the same thing, we are all of the same sex, and all of that. I mean, what kind of a world that would be? A very, very boring world. But we have our differences, and that's what we should learn to celebrate our differences. We should learn to pick up the little things you can pick up from this person's ideologies, or this person's race, or this person, whatever it is. Pick up what you can pick up. Try to, like, and whatever it is in their ideologies, or in their values that you don't agree with, then you leave it. I mean, why do we have to resort to violence? Why is the same body that is, set up to protect us attacking a particular, group? I mean, I've read up on so much. Oh my god, I've read up on so much. I've seen so many videos of police brutality. And please, I just want to call on every law enforcement officers, like, this life is brief, this life is short. Like, everyone is going to, we're all going to live this life, but how do you want to be remembered? And where do you want to go to at the end of this life? Even if you don't believe in heaven and in hell, what about believing in legacy, believing in what people will remember you for when you're gone? you know we are all humans. We all have blood flowing in our body. That person who died could have been me, it could have been you, it could have been your brother, it could have been anyone, for God's sake. And you just take a man's life. Why? Because you have power, because you have guns, because people are afraid of you. Like, why? And I feel like sometimes, even we see these things, maybe it doesn't get to the extent of murder, but even in our place of work, people get intoxicated with power. And we feel like we are superior to people, even in the position that we're placed in, and we forget that we were once also in lower positions before we got to where we are. But then we get there and we feel like we are above everybody, and then we'll come out and we condemn racism, we condemn the officer who killed George Floyd and everything. But in your place of work, who are the people that you are killing? You are killing them in their spiritual goal. You are killing their emotions. You are killing them intellectually. You are killing their self-esteem. You are like, as many of you are coming, and this is a challenge I just want to throw out to you. As many of you are coming out to say, hey, what the police did was wrong, and it is absolutely wrong. It should never be allowed. But I just want to ask you, look beyond, using, physical force to take a person's life, or to segregate against a person. The people that are under you in your place of work, how are you acting towards them? Are you being fair, or are you being a bully? Because it's easy to say, like, this, it's recorded online, it's, everyone is shouting, and because it's brutal, it's, let's be honest, it's disgusting. But at the end of the day, it doesn't start once. It starts from you. It starts from little by little. It starts from you, listening to songs that derogate a particular race. It starts with you, saying stuff like abusive words, or putting curse words against people. It starts with you writing stuff against people. It starts with you acting in a different way, or in a rude manner against people. And little by little, it gets to the point where you can take a person's life right there, and it doesn't mean anything. And to you might feel like, oh, that was extreme and everything. It also starts with you. What are the values you are inculcating in your children? Are you telling them that, listen, we are all created in God's image, and because of that, everybody is created equal before the sight of God, and we're supposed to respect everyone? Are you teaching your children those values? Are you, as a boss, are you, as a supervisor, or anyone, treating those below you like you would, your sister or your brother, or how are you treating the people around you? It goes, see, that's why I said that it goes deep. That's why I'm saying that it's not until you kill a person, or until you murder a person, or you point a gun at a person, or you segregate or you call the cops on a person, or stuff like that. Let's in as much as we are coming to talk about these things, that this is wrong, and it is wrong, but search deep down yourself. Where are the places where you are also being a bully, where you are also segregating, whether it's by race, whether it's by sex, whether it's by tribe? You are a boss who, it's only the, a friend of mine worked with, in Yoruba now, an Igbo politician, and it works, he's the one who does the most in the office, but he's the one who is the most underappreciated. Why? Because it does not come from the same place where the guy came from. So there are so many ways in which this is being done, like segregation, tribalism, like sexism. Like, you have female employees under you whom you don't give equal opportunities to. So there are so many ways. If you're coming out to talk about George Floyd, his death and everything, let's be honest, search deep down within yourself. What are the areas in your own life you are not being fair to the people around you? Because, like I said, it starts from the little things you do. It starts from the little promotion you don't give, the little entitlement, or what do they even call it, that you withdraw from people, that you don't give to them. And you, as a landlord, it starts from you, suddenly increasing the rent from your house, not caring about your tenants, giving them a poor living condition. It starts with you as a colleague, looking down on a new person who just joined your company, spreading gossip about the person. It starts from there. It's little by little. Before you know what is happening, resentment becomes hate, and hate leads to crime. So please, let us also search deep down within ourselves. Where am I also being unfair? In as much as we are coming to do Blackout Tuesday and we are coming to talk about Black Lives Matters and all of these things, whose person's life that is tied in me to me am I also not honoring? So please, let us search within ourselves and let us make the change. What I specifically want to talk about is about what is happening in Nigeria now. What is happening? It's about Uwa, it's about Tina, it's about Jennifer, it's about 1,000 other countless of girls that don't have voices in Nigeria. And this is about you. This is about your children. This is about you as a father. This is about you as a mother. This is about your sister. We're here to talk about these people, these children who have been victims of rape. There was this doctor that was telling a story about this particular girl who he was attending to in the pediatric department in the hospital. And I mean, when he finished talking about that story, I literally cried. Like, I couldn't hold the tears. It was about this girl of 10 years old who died of AIDS because she was raped when she was 6 years old by a man who was 60 years of age, who had HIV. This is the second story I've heard. The other one was about a 13 years old in Nigeria. This even happened in Lagos. A 13-year-old who was raped by a man who was also about 50 or so, who also had HIV. And this girl has to live with the stigma. This other girl, she has to live with the stigma and carry this disease around for something she did not do. I mean, her mom sent her on errand to go and let's not go too much into details. This particular one this doctor was talking about was about this 10-year-old girl. She eventually died at the age of 10 because she didn't survive, because the HIV, I mean, she was on drugs, it became AIDS, and she died. And the man who raped her is walking freely in Nigeria because they said he's 60, he's too old to be in prison, and who knows who else is going to rape. Like, we don't care. The parent tried to pursue the case, but what happened? The man walked scot-free. And that's the way a lot of rapists in Nigeria are walking scot-free in the streets. I know we don't want to say the word, but let's say it. Like, they are rapists, and it is wrong. Raping a child, raping a girl, raping a woman, whoever it is, whatever age, it is not right. It is the disgusting act, and it is wrong. And it's high time that we start talking about these things and we start holding people accountable. The other day was about Busola Dakolo and this pastor, and I don't even want to get into too much details, but you could see the way people were coming on Twitter, coming at her and all of those things. Someone said something that out of every 10 Nigerian women, about 6 of them have experienced sexual assault of one form or the other. And people were like, oh, that is exaggerated. That is not exaggerated, and I'm telling you the truth. I have a lot of Nigerian friends that I've spoken to, and hardly do I have one friend who has not in one way or the other been sexually assaulted, whether it's in the place of work, whether it's in the house, whether it's with their relative, whether it's with their father. Oh my God, so many things happening in Nigeria. And the very thing I want to address is the fact that we are so used to playing this old game of blaming the victim. What was she doing? What was she doing there? What was she wearing? Why was she wearing that? Why was she walking at that time of the night? Why was this? Why was that? As if that gives anyone the right to take advantage of a lady, of a girl, of a woman, and forcefully have sexual intercourse with the person. How? It is never the victim's fault. It is never ever the victim's fault. Look at the 13-year-old girl who was sent by her mom to go and buy something, and to go and get something from this man, and this man took advantage of her. How is that her fault? How is it the fault of a girl who went to study and right there in the church she was raped and killed? How can you come out and say, what was she doing at that time? How is that the issue here? How is that the issue? Whatever that time, why can we not be safe as women? Why can't we walk the same time? If it was a guy who went to school to read at that time, it would be like, oh, he's a dedicated person and all of that. If it's a lady, you say she was calling for it. How is that even right? How can we come out and say stuff like, what was she doing? What was she wearing? Are you sure she did not entice them? A girl was raped and she was killed. And all you can come out to say is, what was she doing there? What was she wearing? What was she doing outside at that time? Why did she go and read? It's amazing. And if you're one of those people that go around blaming people, blaming victims of rape, I pray that your child or your sister or anyone close to you does not experience it. Because a lot of people don't come out to share their story doesn't mean that they've not been in that situation. I think it has gotten to some extent that we've seen some of these things as being normal. Like you are walking in the market, a guy will be dragging you as a woman, will be talking about your ass, talking about like, your boobs, talking about stuff like, in a profane way. Like you don't even have bum, you don't even have this. They would, verbally abuse you, and we have seen it as normal. I remember this day we were in the market and I was working with my friend, and this trader, this man, because he actually had a wedding ring on, as we were walking by, this guy hit my bum. And I guess I looked at him, but I just felt like it wasn't worth it, because if you know me, I'm the kind of person that I don't want trouble. So because of that, I try to avoid a lot of anything that will bring incident, like that will bring, especially with someone that is not intellectually all right. Because what will I say to this guy that will make him know that what he did is wrong in a noisy market? And this is something that they do every day and they don't see anything wrong with it. Now I was like, you know what, I'm not going to even, like, I'm just going to get what I want to get. I'm just going to ignore this. But I have a friend that does not ignore anything, especially when it comes to abuse and stuff like that. I don't ignore stuff like that either, but we just had it, like, she just went on and she went at him and she was like, how could you, if it was your wife or your daughter and she went on and on, and this guy was like, this is abuse, you should be ashamed of yourself and stuff like that. Me, the guy, I was afraid because I cannot fight. If the guy started like, and because everybody in that market, they're just like him, that's what they do. So the moment you speak up, everyone will come at you, and I don't have energy. I don't have strength for any of that. But I really admire what my friend did. Like, she made him understand that this is wrong. You don't just do that to women. It's sexual abuse. It's sexual assault. And the guy, what did he say? Oh, get out of here. I don't blame you. You're not even fine. See how she be. See how she do this. See how she do that. So that's one of the ways that we have seen this thing as normal. The way we talk about women, talk about in them, even the way we portray them in the media. And this happens everywhere. It's like the only thing a woman is useful for is sex. A sexy body, you are advertising toothpaste. You are using a naked woman. The other day I saw, an advert for cereal, and it's about two guys making out, pouring milk on her body, and that's everything. The way we have been that's how we are being portrayed everywhere. That's it. Sex sells. That's what they call it. That's the only thing that sells, because that's how perverse our generation have been. Everything has to be about sex, has to be about sexiness, has to be about, even the way, it's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. But I mean, that's the society we find ourselves in. And in as much as we want to try and get out of that, it starts with you. It starts with the little things. If you don't want people to rape, stop them from verbally assaulting women. Stop them from hitting women in their ass just because they feel like it. Stop men in the market. Arrest men in the market that touch women for no reason. But who are the people that will put those things in place? Because those people who are supposed to put those things in place are busy blaming the victims. Enough is enough. Teach your children to respect women. Teach your boys to respect women. Teach them that a woman is not an object for sexual pleasure. We are humans. We have blood running in our veins. We have feelings also. Enough is enough. I honestly am trying so hard not to go all out. But I just want to let you guys know, rape is wrong. Sexual assault is wrong. If you are part of those guys that a girl will walk by and all you can do is look at her. And Nigerians were fond of this thing. A girl will be walking by and you will sit down. And all you will do, you will look at that girl until the girl falls down. What is the difference? To be honest, what's the difference? Because you have not raped her? Is it until you go there and pull off her clothes? You have already naked her with your eyes. The way you are staring at her, the way she's walking. And then a girl will walk and you try to approach her and she says no. And the next thing you will hear from a Nigerian man is, she's not even fine. See her leg, see her nyash. She's not. Why? Why do we say stuff like that? Enough is enough. Women are humans too. And we need to be treated with respect and dignity. Don't teach me what to wear. Teach your sons not to rape. Teach your children not to rape. Teach your children to respect women. Because that's how it starts. It's a woman that gave birth to a rapist. Now, I'm not saying that, every children, they decide their own path they want to take when they get to a certain age. But there are some values. There are some values that my mother has put in me since I was a child, that now that I've grown up, even the Bible says that train up your child in the way that he should go, so that when he grows up, he will not depart from it. There are some values that my mom has put in me since I was a child, that even now that I have the liberty to do whatever I want, I cannot do some of those things. Why? Because I don't know, it's just a part of me. So train your children, train your kids, because they are our future generation. If this rape thing is going to end, this is just going to be the platform. This is just going to be the beginning. It starts from how you train the next generation that is to come. I'm going to end this video here, but I'm just going to say this thing: whether it's racism, whether it's tribalism, whether it's sexism, whether it's rape, we need to put an end to it. We need to put an end to it. Enough is enough. Thank you. Thank you again for joining me. I don't know if this has helped you, or I don't know if you have any opinion you'd like to put in the comment section. Please do if you do, and I'll see you on Saturday. Thank you. Bye.